All right. Yeah. So I'm gonna admit I probably exaggerated just a little bit when I, made that post about how I basically got scammed by Walmart, basically, because technically it's not really their fault, but then it kind of is at the same time. And I'm gonna talk about what's been going on because I know I've kind of briefly mentioned it during my last couple of toy hunts. But obviously, I don't really want to give like a full explanation because I'm out in public. Like, why would I want to expose myself like that, And yeah, it's not great. At least there's a happy ending to it, but still, at least I still have my money and all that. But wow, if I tell you guys what happened, I mean, well, as a warning, okay, I just want to help you guys out, all right? Because I don't want nobody dealing with the same shit I went through because that's not fun. When everything is good, all your money's in the bank, and then the next thing you know, we can all just disappear right in an instant. Okay, not all of it, but you get the point, right? Basically, I'm gonna talk about today how on Friday I literally got scammed by Walmart and I pretty much lost all my money. And I'm hoping that this is not happening in any other Walmarts. I really hope not. I hope that it's only in my area. And the reason why I'm mentioning this, it's because I know that not too long ago there was some weird, funny shit going on with Walmart. And I'm gonna get more towards that at the end of the video, so I'm gonna jump right to the case. Now, before I move on, I need to say this right now. I am going to be extremely vague, for the most part, mostly because this involves a lot of personal information, and obviously, I don't want to tell people like, online, like, what bank I used, or like where I live, and I'm like, no, because now you're just begging to be scammed. You're just asking for it at that point. So, without further ado, let me tell you what happened, right? So it was a nice Friday morning. I was went to work. Everything was fine. Everything was great. Like how it always is. These stories always go like that. They either start off really nice or they start off really shitty. Like you've had like a bad day or something, and then it gets worse. Or we had a good day, and then all of a sudden that kind of falls apart. So here's the gist, right? I went to Walmart, and as you guys know, or for anyone that doesn't know, obviously, I'm a collector. I collect action figures. That's kind of my thing. I love Ninja Turtles. I love, I got into Marvel Legends, and despite what people say about them, I don't care. I mean, sorry. I love the toy line. Ooh, sorry about that. And yeah, I have like a whole shelf full of them, as you can see right here. I'm quite the shill. Which, let me see if I can fix it just a little bit. Okay, that's as far as it could go. Anyway, yeah, and I did a toy hunt too. I have a whole playlist if you guys ever want to check that out too. I have like a whole playlist basically just based off of, not every single time I go out and I do a hunt, but you get the idea, right? It did on Friday, that particular video where I went to Walmart and I was surprised that they actually had something for once because it's been like the first time in a while since they actually had something besides Ninja Turtles, because obviously because of the new movie that's out, you're gonna find plenty of those. But they had a lot of nice stuff. They got the new like Marvel Legends from like the totally awesome Hulk Build a Figure wave, and now finally we're getting the Cassie Lang Build a Figure wave, which was based off of the Ant Man the Wasp Quantumania movie that came out this year, like back in February. Fun fact. The movie was actually supposed to come out somewhere around this time, but then they pushed it to do it more earlier, and then same thing for Miss Marvel. No, the Marvels, where that was supposed to come out earlier during the year, but it's actually coming out later during this year. Weird, right? Besides that, there was a bunch of toys. Of course, I was gonna get them, and then that wasn't the only thing either. Of course, I had to run a bunch of errands. So it's like, yeah, you know, come on now. But you see, here's a problem though, right? I didn't have too much cash. I didn't have too much cash on me, which I get it. We're living in that age where cash isn't really too much of like a necessity anymore. It's like everyone just rather use card now. Although I'm more old school, if I'm being honest with you, but obviously, if you gotta use the card once in a while, I mean, that's you have that for a reason. You have that towards your advantage. Just places that probably don't even take card, don't take cash. You know what I mean? So it's weird, right? Point I'm trying to make is, that's what I did when I bought my stuff. I used a card, you know, and you know, thought everything was good. I mean, heck, you did your errands, you did what you need to do. You got some figures. So what happened, right? You see, because it was on a Friday, got paid, wanted to go to the bank, want to get my money. I wanted to check how much I had first just to make sure because long story short, I'm one of those people that will constantly check on something even though I already know that it's there. I want to make sure that it's actually there and that there was no like weird unexpected charge. And oh boy, did I definitely got a weird unexpected charge for sure. I checked and I only had like 21 something in the bank and I was in such a panic. It was like, wow, that's one of the worst feelings I've ever felt in a long time. Like, wow, I mean, that's honestly that's worse than when you go out and then you spend all your money out, on whatever because that, at least you know what you're doing. At least you're kind of aware of like what you're doing. But in here, it's like, wow, like what happened? All the money was gone, and there was obviously way more than that and when I was at Walmart, obviously, I'm pretty. I always watch like a hawk. I went to sorry, went to the cash register and all that. I didn't went to self checkout. So what the hell? What happened? And I was like panicking. I didn't know what to do. And I'm the type of person that doesn't really do well under pressure. It's like I get really scared, and I would assume anyone would too. So what happens in the story? Basically, luckily, my bank was there. Because I went to the ATM, but then I went towards a person. I wanted to, and I was like, hey, I told them I was gonna take out my money, but I wanted to check, my balance, and then the next thing you know, it was super low. So I'm like, can we look up like the history, like what's going on, because luckily they were very nice people. Obviously, the guy that helped me out, I mean, he was like super professional. I can't thank him enough, honestly. Like, I want to thank him again when I see him. And he explained to me what happened. Showed me charge. He showed me like the history of like what's up. And then the next thing you know, he says that he found an unauthorized purchase, right? And then he told me how much of the amount was taken away, and I was like, "Yep, that was pretty much almost like most of the money I had." And that was terrible. I was like, "Wow, can you imagine working your ass off all week and then somebody does that to you, you know what I mean? Just kind of steal your money like that. And that's the funny thing too. It's like this guy, he was so calm, and I remember thinking like, why is he so like chill? He's cool as a cucumber right now. Like he's helping me and he's explaining to me what happened, and it's like not even like a single worried look on his face. It was that funny, and he basically explained it to me that this has actually been like a new thing that's been happening lately, and he even told me that it's been happening at that specific Walmart that I go to, and I was like, wow, as if I didn't had enough of a reason to hate Walmart as it is, and then they do this to you. Like, are you kidding me? I then I went from being super worried to just being really pissed because I was like, okay, because I had a hunch that something happened the moment that I used Curve over there. It was bad. I mean, like, thank goodness I did manage to, of course, obviously get my money. They helped what's the word for it? Reimburse? That's the perfect word. Is that the word you use for when a bank helps you like that? When they kind of understand your situation. But then obviously, it's that's the other thing too. I told them if I wanted to make a complaint towards them or something, what's gonna happen, right? And they say that you could, but it wouldn't really go anywhere because the way that this scam works is that they don't really know who's doing it. It's either an employee, a customer, or there's something on the outside kind of doing that. And even after this whole thing, when I was telling like my other coworkers about this, because I was like, hey, I love you guys. I don't want you guys to suffer from like what I went through. And they told me some stuff, interesting stuff. They told me about how it could be like some sort of weird encryption within like the pin pad, like when you use your card to pay for stuff, where they say that basically it could be that somebody probably hacked into there or something like that, I mean, it's weird because you would think that they would take all the money, not leave some of it, but I don't know. I mean, but they say it that a lot of these like hackers and all that, they kind of do that, and I'm like, okay, But it kind of makes me worry too, because it's like, okay, if I would have bought like more stuff, you think all of it would have been taken out too? Because that's not good. Because banks, Banks don't like it when your account's empty. You know, you always got to keep a little bit of something. They're always vague about how much you have to keep, but still, you know. Obviously, I know that was a red flag, and thank goodness my bank was open that day because if it wasn't, yeah, no, then things would have been pretty bad, you know. And it's like, no, I hate that, you know. And like I said though, it's a weird situation because it's like, yeah, out of all places, this happened at Walmart, but you know why? You know, out of all places, you know, because don't get me wrong, stuff like this, it can happen anywhere. You know, it doesn't just happen around here. This can happen at literally any kind of retail. You know, it just so happens that the most trashiest one of all just so happens to, get hacked. You know, it's like, wow, I don't know how they don't even keep an eye on that. And that's another thing I thought of too. Even though you can't really like talk to someone or really kind of point things out, even when you're in a situation like that, you also came to the realization that if this has been like an ongoing thing, how come they didn't really bother to look into it? That's very, very suspicious. They either don't care or they're participating in it somehow. And that's not fair, of course. And like I say, I'm really hoping that this has only happened where I live. You know, I really hope that this is not happening somewhere else because that's awful. You know, for that to kind of happen, especially for a company like that. Like I don't understand. And I keep my receipts and everything too. Like I had everything like on record just to kind of make sure I was rightfully prepared for that because there is no way that all my money is gonna disappear like that. That sucks. I'm just saying, and like I say, I'm being very vague. I really don't like to talk about stuff like this because this is really personal. I really honestly shouldn't be making a video about this at all. But, I have to warn people, because if this is a thing that's been happening, that's not right. That's not cool at all, I mean, it's like, you know, you don't want nobody who's like in a worse condition like me, like I panic, I have a lot of anxiety issues, I have things, wrong with me. I do suffer from like some sort of like disability, so it's like I don't want somebody worse than me to deal with that same situation. Also, my dogs are going crazy in the background, so I'm sorry about that. Yeah, but I just thought I'd just kind of warn you guys. I don't really know where else to kind of go with this story, and I don't want this video to go on for too long. The last thing I'm going to talk about though is I remember on the news that there was some crazy stuff going on where apparently like I think like I don't know if it's still a thing, but like a couple weeks ago there was people like whenever they went to the Walmart self checkout, apparently they got like a weird extra charge without really knowing. And that they got like some sort of weird like subscription thing, or they were that their money got taken away somehow. I have no idea what it was. I barely even bothered to check up on it because, like I say, I don't really like Walmart. If I'm being honest with you, it's like I go in and it's like you get like a very weird, unfriendly vibe to it. I don't really know how to really describe it. The customer service is not great either. The employees, either they've been worked to death and they're miserable, or they just really don't care. And that's the other thing too. It's like I try to look at it like that because I work in retail, so I know how that's like when you work, and it's like it is a lot of things you have to do. Some things come up, or if you're dealing with a customer and it's like they're really really like uh you know not the best people in the world, so that tends to kind of scare you. Like my heart beats fast when I get into a situation like that because I just don't know what to do. I try to be friendly, I try to do whatever, so I get that. But even when I told my dad the same story, the first thing he told me is that, oh, Walmart always hiring, people that just don't care, could be someone doing that, and it's like, yeah, it's true. So wow, and like I mentioned, I didn't look too much into the story about what was going on, and apparently that it was happening in multiple WalMarts. But I don't think that's the same thing as to what happened to me. I think this was something completely different. But that's all I have to really say, honestly, though. I don't, like I said, I don't think I need to keep going forward. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to not only warn you guys just in case this is happening where you guys live, or if just to kind of like a heads up and be careful, in the future, and that if you ever feel like that if you're going somewhere, even if it's like big retails, whatever, and look, I've used my car plenty of times, so it's like all I'm gonna say is just be wary, be careful, because we're kind of living in a time now where it's like you really, really have to be careful and kind of prioritize a little bit with your money. And it's like, it's really good to, like, save some extra on the side in case of like an emergencies and all that. Though, listen, I know that's like a very boomerish thing to say. Okay, look, I'm 22, so it's like I get it. It's weird coming from someone like me, who spends money on figures, but I prioritize. So it's like I understand what you need to spend your money on first before you can really go ahead. All right, because hey, listen, you can still buy some stuff once in the blue moon. If you have stuff, as long as you know what you're doing. And like I said, I'm okay now. I'm good. You know, I just if it was up to me, I would avoid Walmart all the time. But like I said, this type of scams can happen anywhere. Not just where I live. It doesn't always end up being Walmart doing it. It could be other places too. I'm just saying, this is why cash really needs to stay and let it be optional. Because I really hate the idea of cash disappearing one day and then we're all just kind of using cards or some sort of like crypto, like some like Dead Space like credit type thing. And you know what I mean if you've ever played the video game Dead Space. But you get the point. No, I mean I get it. It's easier, but I don't know. At least it helps you to avoid situations like this. So until then, so I hope you guys, stay safe out there. Be careful. And you can still buy what you like. You just gotta just be wary. Just watch it. And don't be ashamed too if you're a type of person that only use cash. Look, it is what it is. That's how you survive. And yeah, and thank you, Walmart. Yeah, it's another message too. I would say more, but I'm just tired. So yeah, that's about it. Leave like, subscribe, or dislike this video if you want to, and it's about it.